Happy Sunday night and welcome to another meeting of the Park Adventurers Club. Thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate you. Again, if you followed us along on our last adventure, that has come to an end, but this is a new journey for us, so we hope that you will subscribe to the Park Adventurers Club and also give this video a like as it helps people to find us, and we certainly want to make sure that people find us. So, business out of the way, let's see who's here from the club tonight. First, it's Stephanie. How are you?
Hi, friends. I'm doing well. You're all VIPs to me.
Aw, VIP. And, new club member, but an old friend of mine, Dave Sorge. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me. This is very exciting. This is like new territory for me.
Before we go any further, I do want to introduce why I know Dave. Dave used to work with me in my radio adventures, so everybody always says, Dave has such a great voice. He must have been in radio, and indeed he was. And I remember that I was working with, we were doing some Disney promotions, and somebody said, oh, you're with that radio company. You must know Dave Sorge, because he's also crazy for Disney. And I was like, not yet, but we'll find out who has more craze for Disney. So anyway, Dave, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. So both of these folks have experienced some high-level VIP treatments, and we're going to share all that with you as part of our meeting tonight. And I know it's weird; it's like a meeting. Yes, we have a meeting. This is the meeting of the Park Adventurers Club. I have a gavel. So it's real.
It's a real gavel this
time. And then also we're gonna follow Rob's rules of order, which basically means if y'all get out of line, we're just going to shut it down. That's all that means. So we hope you guys will talk to us in the chat. Let us know what's happening. We'll read some responses from some other Park Adventure Club members near the end when we're talking about the VIP. But we have an agenda. Any good meeting has an agenda, right? So our agenda is not this one. That is not our agenda. That's crazy talk. Why would that be our agenda? That's for May 4th. This is our agenda for May 18th. First of all, the reading of the minutes. These are the things that we had happen last week that we wanted to touch on, that felt like we needed to share our opinions on. Disneyland's 70th started Friday. Battle for the Ministry of Magic has gotten rid of the virtual queue. Oh boy, we're going to have a conversation about that. VI pass holders, summer days have begun at Disney World. The new Little Mermaid show has gotten several updates. It opens up on May 27th. And of course, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party tickets went on sale. And I want to talk about those and also a couple other things about that. But let's start with Disneyland's 70th. It started on Friday, May 16th. As you would expect, anything that is the 70th anniversary of a thing that opened on July 17th, 1955, why not start on May 16th? So a lot of cool stuff happened. We saw it all unfold on social media. We know people that are out there, and there were foods and new things on rides and parades and returns of wondrous things happened, Stephanie. So, I know you've kind of taken a look at all of these things. Anything in particular stand out to you?
Well, of course, I'm going to say the characters and the older characters, the less, well-seen characters. They're bringing some of those back, cavalcades, that kind of thing. So I think Disneyland does a great job. I really do. I think that they kind of do it up every year. The 70th is not really as big as the 75th should be. The 75th should be like a rocking good time, I guess. But the 60th was fun. I was out there for the 60th, and the 70th, I'd love to get back over there, at least in sometime this year, because they always celebrate it for so long. But yeah, I think that they do a good job. And some of the food looks amazing too, Rob.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there were a lot of neat food choices. They dropped over 100 new food items for this. There are 5, I think, different lines of merchandise to partake in. So there's lots of that and lots of plastic.
I need
good
the
friend,
ears.
Yes. Well, I mean, don't we all? Our good friend Jungle Cruiser shared some of the plastic that he procured from his trip, including the Herald Sipper, this Mickey Mouse, which is amazing. The Key, which we'll talk about in a second,
Yes.
and then this Tomorrowland stuff, which this little stack thing from something that he was able to attend. I was like, yes, please, I need all of these things immediately. I did have my hookup get me the Mickey and the Abominable, and Harold. I had to have that. Dave, you're looking at all this stuff too, and I know you and I have talked a lot about Disneyland, and you were actually trying to get me to talk you out of a Magic Key at one point, or into it. I'm not really sure where we were at that point, but when you look at all this, does it make you want to run out there real quick?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I've already scheduled to go out there in November anyway, so I'm very excited about some of the stuff they announced. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is what they're doing with the Tapestry of Happiness on Small World, and like
Yeah.
which looks incredible. I'm definitely a merch
Yeah.
guy though. I will say that. Like I've already put several things that I saw on the website on on my want list for November. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. But it all looks incredibly cool. So it's validating the money I'm spending on going back in November now.
Well, well, don't worry about making your list because by the time you get there, it'll all be sold out,
Right.
or there'll be too much of it because nobody wanted it. That just really seems to be the case, right?
Oh.
You know, it's like if it's the thing you think, oh my gosh, I need to get this because it's going to sell out immediately. Then you go back next time and they're like 2 for 1. But if it's something, if it's something you're like, so. Yeah, the pins look very cool. There was a return of Paint the Night, and that one is amazing.
Yes.
And honestly, Stephanie, you and I talk about park entertainment all the time and how we're excited about Disney World finally getting a nighttime parade back. Paint the Night is one of my 3 favorite all-time parades, and they're not the ones I don't think you would think of. Boo to You,
Oh.
Paint the Night, and also Magic Happens. And the problem is, I feel like we can't have both at the same time because we had Magic Happens and then they were like, we're going to put this away and then we're going to let's bring out Paint the Night. I mean, yeah. Have you seen Paint the Night in person, Stephanie?
Yes, and shame on you for not saying Spectro in that list. Okay, I was in Spectro.
My list.
But anyway.
My choice. I can say
True.
I can say what I want.
Yes.
It's fine.
Well, fine. I got gavelled. So yes, we've seen Paint the Night is a phenomenal show. I love the music, the score. You know, they kind of combine different songs in there, and it's just really catchy. It's very upbeat, and you just want to get up and dance with everybody. But the lights themselves are what steals everything. Like it is just phenomenal how they're able to change and do all the different designs and colors with everything. And I wish that Disney World had gotten that, but I'm still holding out for the new parade coming, and hopefully it's going to be just as good.
Yeah. No, I agree. And speaking of, again, Dave, you were talking about merch. One of the things that I joked with Stephanie about, because she has, I think she's up to 12 kids now. I'm sorry. It's 5. It's
Still
fine.
5.
I know, it's still 5. Is that this thing, and again, this is Jungle Cruiser's picture of this this key from the Disneyland 70th. It's the Disneyland key to Disneyland experience. So the cool thing about this key is you buy this key and you take it around the park and it's a scavenger hunt. You go around and you find the key spots and you put the key in and turn it. It makes music out of it, different sounds. All of the icons light up as you collect them, and when you collect all of them, you open it up and there's a pin inside. So it opens up and there's a pin inside. One of 9. So again, it's a chaser. So even if you bought 9 keys, you wouldn't necessarily be able to get all of the pins. I don't think there's a way to know for sure. I can't imagine at some point Disney won't put them online somewhere about maybe to buy them in a chaser, but maybe that would deflate the value of this. But I hope this is still there. At the same time, it is $60, so it's not one of those things that you take lightly when you're buying it. But I just made a joke earlier or on a previous show with Stephanie about she's gonna have a whole car full of these things because I'm sure every kid needs to have one. Is this something you would do, Dave, or are you into pins, or is there other merch you thought was pretty amazing?
I was already debating that. Like, would people laugh at me if I walked around the park with this?
No.
Because I know obviously it's
No.
targeted at kids, but I really want the pin. I mean, is that wrong? Is that bad?
No,
Do it.
No, that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like I would, even though I don't love carrying around a big giant key. But I think I would probably just do it. I probably just I'll stay somewhere close by, and when I'm tired of carrying it around, I'll bring it back to the hotel.
Well, and again, the fact that it plays the sounds like the Grim Grinning Ghost and all that, I'm gonna have to have it.
Yeah.
I didn't ask anybody to get it for me. I'm rolling the bones, and hopefully, like if when I go the next time, hopefully it'll be there. We'll see. Just another reason to go back to Disneyland in addition to all this stuff. The final thought on this one before we move on, and I'm asking this to Stephanie because you and I were both there October 1st, 2021 for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. It looks to me like the 70th of Disneyland with let's add the 70 number to Toy Story Mania, and let's add a scene to Small World and a new verse and this Walt thing that's going to open up, which isn't open yet, and all these things. It feels like that they went double. I'm going to go ahead and say double into the amount of effort that they put into this one versus 50th. And you could say it's because it was on the eve of COVID, but it was the 50th.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, at the very least, I would have loved to have seen them get Julie Andrews to come and do an opening ceremony, as she did on the
Wow.
opening ceremony of the park in 1971. So at the very least, and it was during COVID, but they, could have made it work. Yeah, I'm disappointed. Again, the Chapek era, I think all disappointed us for the most part with everything. And I'm still, a little sour and salty about some things that they're still doing at Disney World. Disneyland, they're the original, and they have to celebrate that. And they do an excellent job, like I said before. They really do, and they are very thoughtful about it. And I think that they're trying to honor Walt. And yes, I know that's controversial about the animatronic opening, but I think that they're doing a good job, and I think they're trying to honor his memory.
Yeah, I see Alicia in chat says, I was there for the 50th. It was meh. And you know what? Honestly,
Mid, yeah.
I sort of defended the 50th in a lot of ways because I thought, you know what, they've done a lot here. But again, you look at the 70th and it's like, well, did they? Like, I
Right.
mean, there's so many things that happen. I feel like Remy opened up for the 50th, but that's only because they delayed the opening. It was already ready to go. Everybody in the world had done the preview except for me, and they waited to open it up for the 50th as something that they were adding, and they added a nighttime show where they took away one people loved, like Happily, and they put in Enchantment, and so that didn't sit right with people.
Yep.
This one has, I heard that the Muppets opening for Happiness is great and very thoughtful. The Wondrous is back. People love Wondrous. Paint the Night is back. People go crazy over that. A lot of things that seemed like maybe an easy grab for them, and some of the things that looks like they went above and beyond. So good for you, Disneyland, for the 70th anniversary and all that you've got there. Again, the only thing that's weird to me is that we started it on May 16th. I don't know.
Well, because money.
Because money. So let's talk about the battle for the Ministry. So this is the main attraction at Epic Universe, the park that is still not open but has been open basically for 2 months. It opens in 4 days. And when it opens, they have shut down the Ministry attraction briefly so that they could work out some kinks. When it opened up this week, it opened up without the virtual queue that's been so controversial, and it was just standby. And I am a fan of that because if you want to spend your time and ride that ride, you can wait the 3 or 4 hours that it's going to wait, because it got up to 300 minutes. You can wait those 300 minutes for this attraction. The queue is beautiful. That's all great. I know a lot of people are pro virtual queue. Like, Rob, why would you want to wait in line when you can reserve a virtual queue? Because it's such a lottery right now, and it's such a chance that if your kid only wanted to do Harry Potter, your trip is ruined by not being able to do that. There's a feeling you feel about missing a virtual queue. And Stephanie, I'm going to go to you on this one first and see what you think. I'm a fan because I may not wait in line, because I may say everybody else is waiting in line. Let me go do these other things this park has to open and offer. And, honestly, because this is a brand new park and this is just one piece of a brand new park, I feel like it's different than what we've experienced at Disney when it's one ride. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes. So there's a lot that Universal still needs to improve upon. I will give them that, but they have done a lot right. And I've not been to Epic yet. You have, Rob, but I will say that what that I've seen so far has really impressed me. And yes, I am that person. I have stood in line for Velocicoaster. It was shortly after it opened, but it was 300-minute wait, and I did have a 1-year-old in tow. And so that queue is not as interesting as this one. And I would think that with kids especially, you could stand in this queue and you could be entertained. You could look around and you could be immersed very, very easily in this one, as opposed to say Velocicoaster, where half of it's standing in the sunshine. But other than that, I think that, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't really prefer virtual queues because it is so hard to get. And for me, I have a large party always. So it's hard for me to get those spots a lot of times. And I do prefer to stand if I have the time, I can put it into my day. And yeah, now that they have the single day tickets for Epic, I think it's going to help because people can say, well, if I didn't get it this first day, I could just buy another ticket and try again tomorrow, even if it is a virtual queue.
Yeah. Dave?
And I'll tell you, I'm not a line guy. The longest line I've ever stood in any Disney park was for Tron, and it was on my trip last week. And that was, I ended up being in line for like 30 minutes. It was supposed to be an hour, ended up being 30 minutes. I cannot do a 300-minute queue. I don't care how good the queue is. It's just not going to happen. I'll wait. When everybody else is tired of it, Dave will show up.
Yes. Well, that's true too, because, usually towards the end of the night, the lines get a lot, shorter. So that's a good point.
Yep.
Well, and again, I mean, Rob Bazemore said wrong, I believe, to me, and then Stephanie says he says Stephanie is wrong too. Rob Bazemore and I are going to have a come to Jesus at some point here, because
he loves the virtual queue.
on our show last week, he said this, and or last time he was on, which I think was May the 4th, he said this. He said, when I was talking about, we were talking about there being different attractions on the East Coast and West Coast, and he said, yeah, Rob, that's wrong because not everybody gets to go to both parks like we do. And so, okay, I get that. I totally understand that. And so that's a thing. But if this is your only trip that you're ever going to be able to take to Epic, and you've saved up your money and everything, and you're taking your family, and they want to do ministry, and you leave it to chance that you may or may not get in, this could ruin that trip for those folks whose this is their only time to go. And if you live there, great, make a virtual queue, and if you don't get the virtual queue, no big deal. You can go back tomorrow, like you said, Stephanie. But if you're like, hey, I won't be back until like this park is, has got another land, or in 5-10 years, then yeah, I feel like that it's different for that. So I like the fact. Now, here's a caveat: if they had a paid option, which I'm not trying to tell Universal to put a paid option on this, but if they had a paid option for this outside of, like, Express doesn't work because it's not included, and a virtual queue, and you miss the virtual queue and it meant a lot to you, then it's going to hurt, but you could pay the difference there. So I like that they had that option. This is virtual queue or nothing that they were testing. And so I'd rather stand by or nothing than virtual queue or nothing. Again, just my opinion, Rob. We're gonna have to get together. He's acquiesced that I'm only partially wrong now. So there we go. So let's pivot and talk about the VI pass, not the VIP yet. This is the VI pass holder. Has started at Walt Disney World. This is part of their summer initiative to get folks in the door. And their pass holders, they're celebrating by opening up a lounge where you can go in and you can get, you go to Restaurant Marrakesh, which has not been open as a restaurant, since before COVID. And then you can go in there and chill out and recharge yourself and recharge your devices, and you can get a button, which is why I will be going there. I'm a sucker, man. I can't help it. So, but then there's also a tumbler that you can get, and then of course there's a new magnet. The new magnet is choice. Dave, are you a pass holder? I don't even know the answer to this.
I am not a pass holder. I am a pass holder wannabe.
Great. Well, let's talk to somebody who actually has some clout here. Stephanie, tell me how you feel about this.
Well, the pass holder thing is fine. I like the discounts. I like the fact that they have the lounge set up, and I wish the restaurant was still open, but that's a different story. I just wish that they would do it more frequently than this. They really only do it for a certain amount of weeks in the summertime. I get that it's hot, and that's usually when people use these things. But we have the DVC lounge at Epcot and at Magic Kingdom now, and that's year round. So why not have the VIP pass holder? Whatever, I hate the name, but anyway, I wish we had that year round too. Because again, I'm gonna give it to Universal on this one. They do a really great job, and even out at Disneyland. DCA, they have the, oh, I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but it's above there that you have
Magic
special
Key
seating.
Terrace?
Thank you, Magic Key Terrace, that you can go to that. So why don't we have something like that at Disney World?
I don't know, but I got to tell you, I love this magnet, and it looks like that for the first time they're getting away in a long time the artwork, unless I'm just misreading how this artwork is. They're getting rid of
No, that looks like the original.
Yeah, they're getting rid of the everything looks like the new Mickey Mouse. We had a Figment one that looked like the new Mickey Mouse. We had Ray that looked like the new Mickey Mouse. We had Timon and Pumbaa that looked like, but this one looks like it's like you said, kind of like the original sort of a look. And I love the green, and it's going to be, yeah, I'm excited about picking that one up. Obviously, a little bit of a throw to the new Villains show and the coming Villains Land. Maleficent will be our queen. So yeah, that's exciting that we get to get that. And honestly, Dave, you may or may not know this about me, but I've literally threatened to get on planes before and fly down to get a magnet. At least this time it'll be during a time when I'm already headed down that way. So that'll be exciting.
I've not heard that, but it does not surprise me.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't surprise anybody. This is definitely a problem. But again, the pass holder, it happens. I think it's through July. So if you guys have not, or if you guys are pass holders, just make sure to take advantage of the things that they're offering you when you go down to Walt Disney World. So that'll be exciting for everybody. I was looking to see if I had this listed. They go through July 31st. So speaking of things that are happening soon, on May 22nd, Universal opens a huge new theme park. 5 days later, Disney Hollywood Studios opens 2 new shows. I don't know. And when I say new, they're going to be replacing old ones. So replacements, I guess is where I'm going with that one. But I'm excited to see them. They did kind of throw out a little bit of propaganda, we'll call it, this week. Not only did they show us the new marquee, not the Biz marquee, but the new marquee for The Little Mermaid. It looks pretty nice, honestly. I'm excited about that. I wonder what like the queue area will look like, Stephanie, if it'll still have that like the wood paneling. Remember like that pre-show that
like
they
the
had
ship.
for the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you think they'll have that kind of stuff? And also, did you
I
watch the
hope so.
Jodie Benson video where she hyped it up?
Yes, of course. I mean, get you in the feels because it's Jodie and she's amazing and she's just the sweetest. And then she's like petting Max, and Max is, kind of sniffing and jumping on her. And how cute is that? So I'm excited for it. I hope that this one, I think, has more expectations to it because of the previous iteration. So if it's as good as the one before, just an updated version, I think that it'll be great. But if they have totally butchered it, then it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the other one was pretty cool, but this one they were talking about digital puppets, which sounds to me like they're not physical, they're digital.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Max was physical, but yeah.
Max was physical, exactly. And they talked about Max as if he was brand new, but they had, I guess as a puppet he is, but he used to be kind of a character that would go around on stage. Max was freaking adorable. Dave, I think that probably I don't know if you remember the old Mermaid show, but there have been generations of children born since that show was actually in effect. So do you remember that one? You looking forward to this one?
Because I've never seen the original show, so
what?
You're making me look like I know, and I love
here?
the shows.
Are you new?
I love the shows. So like I was not even aware of it, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm gonna hang in my head in shame a little bit here.
Yep.
No.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're here for the VIP part later. I mean,
I know, like I've kind of failed at every level other than that, haven't I?
It's okay. You just missed the lasers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow.
There were lasers?
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty cool though. The old show. The very first time I saw the old show, I was very impressed. The rain screen, like the rain curtain that would come down, and the whole thing was very cool. I thought, but it definitely felt dated. They shut it down before COVID, I think, and then it has been closed ever since. So that thing is well timed for them to reopen that. It's been a piece of empty property in a very small park. So I'm glad to see that. And I'm kidding a little bit about it, but I'm very glad to see them returning. A show here, and then of course the villain show will be open the same day, and that opens up down where Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy was. So the Mermaid show, they had Jodie Benson surprise the cast and crew, and then she went backstage and asked some questions that I'm sure were not scripted at all. She's just curious that way, just like her character is. Yeah, exactly. So, that's a lot of fun. All right, and then the final thing in our minutes to review for the weekend. There were a lot of things that happened, so it was a little bit harder for me to choose this week, but we like to give you guys the good stuff, is that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party returns to Walt Disney World August 15th. Of course it does, August 15th, through October 31st, and boy, howdy.
I think it says Halloween like 95 degrees.
Yes. Or plus.
Yeah. Honestly, this is so tickets are on sale. They're expensive tickets, by the way. This is, I think, the most that they've ever charged for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Dave, I hesitate to even ask, have you ever been to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party?
Yes. Okay, that's a good insulting. No, that is my favorite ticketed event at Disney World. I love going to that. Every time we actually try to go sometime during that window almost every year. So yeah, that's definitely, I will definitely be there for it again this year.
Okay.
By the way, my wife doesn't know that, and she's probably watching. So,
dude, I am so sorry. I am so sorry to blow up your spot like that. This is what you need to know about encouraging family to watch and then burying your soul of your plans. It's 101, man. You gotta know that stuff. Yeah. So, Stephanie, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I've already gotten some tickets, and I'm going to be one of those hundreds of people that are sweating during the early August dates of the fall foliage that's all covered all the whole Magic Kingdom. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's near and dear to my heart. My twin's birthday is actually Halloween. So in years past, we've made it a point to go on that actual day on Halloween. And it's just a fun time. I think it's a lot to do. That it's for sure. You can't do everything. You can't go on all the rides and see all the characters and see all the shows, but it's a great time.
Well, and just so you know, tickets actually go on sale to regular guests on May 22nd. So this week, again, there's something else that happens on May 22nd. I can't really remember what it is. Epic opens. So May 22nd, they put tickets on sale for this. But if you already had a hotel reservation for that time period, you could have bought them. I think it was on the 15th you could buy them. There's also a D23 night, because it happens that there is a one of these events happens during the weekend of Destination D23. So make sure if you're interested in it, check it out May 22nd. That's when tickets go on sale. But the Superior event has not been announced yet, which is the Oogie Boogie Bash. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of Oogie Boogie. So we'll see how that works out. One last thing I want to mention about this, though. I'm also a huge Jack Skellington fan. And the first thing I noticed about this when it came up was this new, improved Jack character, and I couldn't be more excited about this one because it's like so good. It is so good. And the one they had before, I was just like, why does he look like that? But I've worked through it in the past. Like, I've done the meet and greet because, again, I'm a huge fan. But I was just like, this is so much better. And I was like, is that real? Because they had a great, you and I both did Jollywood Nights last year, and the puppet that they used for the sing along is amazing. But here's a shot of the new one versus the old one. And so the old one is they took a rubber head and they pasted it onto his real mouth, and this new one, it's just like. And, the question that Jack asked, surprised, aren't you? Yes, I was very surprised, pleased, and thank you, Disney, for making that happen.
Hmm.
So,
It's like the
uh,
Woody when they redid Woody. Woody looked more like the character than he did before he looked like Jake Gyllenhaal.
yeah. Dawn says, agree. New Jack looks great. I mean, New Jack City comes to mind now that you're saying that. If anybody like knew from the '90s the movie Color Me Bad, anyway, okay, nobody. So, I honestly, I'm to the point where I don't always wait in line for characters. Sometimes I'll just do like the selfie over the shoulder thing when there's this huge line because I want to spend my time in other ways, but. I would wait in line to see like this Jack. And those hard ticket events, it's really usually you have to make a choice. Which track are you taking? Are you taking the let me try as much food as possible track? Let me meet and greet as many characters as I can, or let me go do like trick or treat stops, that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I'm excited for it. I'd love to see him there. And yeah, huge upgrade. So let's talk about the reason we're here is our new business for the week. Our new business for the week has to do with the VIP experience. So our thumbnail says going VIP, is it worth it? And so I asked Dave and Stephanie to be here tonight because they have experience. Dave is like he's still on that VIP high right now because he's been so recently. He's just champing at the bit to tell us all about about his experience. But before we get into this, I wanted to say that there was a lot of how do we say it? Stephanie? Is it okay to say girl math?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Not offended. I use
About
it.
about when when Disney announced the Lightning Lane Premier Pass, which was you could spend $440 to go to each attraction once in the Magic Kingdom, and everybody was like, "Well, at that point, you might as well do VIP." And there was a lot of math breaking it down that says, "Okay, if you're gonna pay anyway, so." Obviously, we're all kind of fighting the fact that we used to get all this for free with Fast Pass. You remember Fast Pass, Dave? So with Lightning Lane, it started out with Genie. They ruined the Genie's name by attaching it to Genie Plus, and then they had Lightning Lanes that were paid, and then the other stuff fell under Genie. And then they're like, no, we need to rename this. So they renamed it Lightning Lane Single Pass, Lightning Lane Multi Pass. I will suck it up and I will do Lightning Lane Multipass because I do think that there is a value to that for me and my family. We don't, when we're there, we want to make sure to maximize our time as much as possible. The Premier Pass, that's a little too much for me. The difference being that you have to be able to get a reservation for the multi-pass. Premier Pass, you just walk up and swipe your pass and go in to each attraction once, and it has to be a Lightning Lane attraction though. You can't just walk up to the roll up VIP to the Tomorrowland People Mover. So that's a lot of people were saying, well, wait a minute, you can actually get VIP. Get the VIP tour, and it would be almost as cheap. Well, it's $450. Let's talk about the price. It's $450 an hour for a minimum of 7 hours, and that's $450 at the low side. So if it's a busy day or if it's a important, like if it's a holiday, it could go up to $900 for that. So. Dave, I know you used to work in radio, and I don't know how you were rolling VIP. No, I'm just kidding.
I got out of radio.
Yeah, right. That'll fix it. No, I'm just kidding. Please, I hope my boss isn't watching. But I would say though that that money, when you start to look at it, that's for a private VIP tour. We'll talk about Universals in a second, but we're just talking about Disney World, not Disneyland, but Disney World. So, Dave, do you want to talk a little bit about your VIP experience?
Yeah, for me, VIP isn't just about like being able to fast track every single line. It's a whole concierge experience, and we had 8 people on our trip, and it was a special surprise for my mom. So we wanted to do something really special for her. And I got on the phone with guest services and kind of told them about like what we were trying to accomplish, and it wasn't even just about rides, just about like what do they like. What are the things that really they get excited about at Disney World, and they really help craft this thing that was well beyond just like taking us from one ride to the next. They were even able to like pair us with a VIP tour guide that kind of fit what we were looking for, because we wanted somebody that was kind of high energy, that was fun and funny, There are some tour guides that are kind of laid back, which is totally fine. We wanted somebody that was going to like add to the experience a little bit, and they gave us that. This is his name was Aaron, and I mean, he had us like in stitches half the time. So that was that was part of the entertainment. And I think one thing you don't get with Premier Pass is transportation. And we were going, for example, from there was a point where we got to Epcot, and they kind of bring you up to the back of Guardians, and they let you out there. You kind of walk into the back door and you ride Guardians, and then they get back in the car and drove over to Soarin' and went into the back door of Soarin'. And those are the two main rides other than Ratatouille that we wanted to get into on Epcot. So we avoided all that walking and saved a lot of time. We accomplished so much. I wish I had the list in front of me of the things we did just in the first day. But to me, it goes well beyond just what you get with Premier Pass. So when you're talking about 8 people, 100% worth it. I would do it again, and I probably will do it again.
Yeah, and you can do up to 10 people in one group.
Up to 10, yes.
And then if you go to 11, apparently it doubles in price because you've got to add a tour guide. Yeah, a second tour guide to that. So that's $450 to $900 an hour, 7-hour minimum, and then also you've got the tip at the end, which we'll talk about later. Stephanie, is all that track? I mean, again, I know you've done a couple of VIP tours, and you give them all the information ahead of time. You tell them what you're looking for. Do you have a favorite VIP guide?
Yes, actually. And you can request them. And if they're available, then they will take you to, because they do try to pair you. And if you say, hey, I've done this before and this is who I like, and she knows how I work, or he does a great job for us, they will automatically put them with you if they are available, like I said. So that's really cool too. Dave is absolutely right. What you're getting at Disney World, because I've done both coast as well. And I will tell you what you're getting at Disney World is the transportation. That is really the big deal there, because you can do all 4 parks. You don't have to stay in one park, and they will transfer you from park to park, but you have to know that you're just going to hit maybe 2 or 3 rides per park. And I always like to throw in a fireworks show, special VIP viewings at the end, which your tour guide has to be with you at Disney World. That's a cool thing that you need to know about Disneyland. The tour guide does not need to be with you. So you can reserve, you can have your 7 hours from 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. when the park opens all the way through, and the fireworks don't go off till 9 or 10. Well, because you had that tour that day, they put you on a list, and you can see. And we saw the Halloween fireworks, and we saw Phantasmic right after that, both on the VIP sections, and our tour guide had.
Wow.
But that's the difference between Disney World and Disneyland. There's a few other caveats there too. Like, of course, Disneyland does not have any transportation. You're literally just walking across. So, they're like, golf carts? No golf carts. You got to walk. But at Disney World, they put you into really nice vans. And yeah, I mean, obviously we travel with kids. I want to maximize my time and my money, so I get at least 10 people. But they make you have car seats, and they have, transportation vans that can accommodate wheelchairs, strollers. They really do. They'll pick you up and drop you off at your hotel.
Mm-hmm. A lot of thoughts, a lot of questions, but I do want to ask this question first from chat. Ronald, and I know that they take you, especially Dave, like you were talking about, they'll take you behind the scenes and, drop
backstage.
You off backstage.
Yep.
So when they do that, though, they're just dropping you off behind Guardians, and you see what's behind Guardians, and you come out on stage. But the question that Ronald was, I know that they have specific behind-the-scenes train experience at WDW. Can you visit where they work on the trains or other behind-the-scenes stuff on the VIP tour? So honestly, like, again, they have a walk-in waltz full steps, behind the scenes, or all kinds of other tours you could take. But on the VIP tour, can you request to do some of those things?
No, that would be an add-on. If you wanted to do like the Kilimanjaro part, that would be separate. You would add that on to your time. And listen, it's 7 hours. It doesn't stop. If you want to like go have a meal, which I always do, I want to sit down and rest and eat, then they don't stop. So I usually invite the tour guide to come with us, because they have basically a company card. So you don't pay for their meal, but it's always nice to invite them, and they sit down with you and you hear a bunch of neat stories.
Yeah, that's great. So the fireworks thing, I've researched a lot of it because again, I have not done VIP here, but I've done VIP Universal, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But so the fireworks thing was interesting to me because I was watching some people who got on at 2:00, started their tour, and ended it at 9, so that they could be dropped off in front of the Magic Kingdom, in front of the castle for fireworks. I thought that's brilliant. Some people will shift that and do it during the day and do it for a parade. The problem with the parade would be though that that's time is money. And so like that's what's genius about the fireworks thing is like you're done with them, but they got you into the fireworks. And so you're good on that way. You're saying that they can add you to the list if you had done a VIP from 8 a.m. in the morning and you only did 7 hours, that they can add you to that list, which I think is great. But I love... Oh, at Disneyland, not at Disney World. Got it. Yep. So with Disney World, though, it was really cool that they were able to time it out that way because my wife was like, why are they starting at 2:00? And I'm like, that's why. And so the other thing about this is that park hopping takes time even with a car. So I think that if you're wanting to do something and you're wanting to hit like all the, the e-ticket attractions in each park, time is money. You're burning time when you're in the car. So I feel like if it worked out that you wanted to do just like one park and do as many things you want, you're going to do more attractions. But this way you get to do the things that you want to do. Dave, how many parks did you do when you did this one?
We did all 4. Only thing we did in Animal Kingdom was
Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage. Thank you. Which was
100%,
and which was incredible.
It's like, well, let's see. The only thing that we did at Animal Kingdom was we went to the bird show because we've always went. No, I'm just.
I will say this: we had my young niece with us, and she is a huge fan of Ariel, and so we actually did Ariel's Grotto during the VIP tour. So that was a very expensive and very long, surprisingly long wait at Ariel's Grotto during the VIP tour.
But you're a genius to do that. And can I tell you why? This is something I ranted about on another show.
Maybe you feel better about it.
Well, in February when we were there, we were trying to get in to see, like you said, Ariel's Grotto, to see her. They had taken away the Fast Pass selection for that. I'm called Lightning Lane. They've taken that away. They've taken it away at the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. So I, like you, have a lot of little girls, and we need to do that. And so at the very end of our night, Rob, we went and watched the fireworks, and then she booked us, ran us over to Princess Fairy Tale Hall and got us through to see all 4 princesses, which was phenomenal. So yes, that is something that you do need to know if it's something that's important. You don't want to wait in line for hours and hours, but they can get you kind of in and out the exit, if you will. It's really the Lightning Lane, but they don't use Lightning Lane anymore, unfortunately.
Oops.
It's live, folks.
It's my first night. I'm still getting used to my programming. At least it wasn't a mute. That's why. That's right. Why that happened. So again, I think that there's a strategy, right? Like as Disney parks goers and as like addicted Disney parks goers, we're always like, what's the strategy? What's the best thing to do? If we're going to rope drop, where are we going to go? And we're going to hit this first. And, we're going to stay at this hotel so we can get there faster. So even with VIP, what you guys are saying is there's a strategy. When my wife, we were watching somebody else's experience and they were talking about Animal Kingdom and they did Navi River Journey. I don't know why. They did Navi River Journey and they did, like, I love Navi, but on a VIP, and they did Flight of Passage, and she's like, why wouldn't they do like Kilimanjaro Safaris? That's so good. And there's usually a line. I'm like, because it's so long. Like if you've only got 7 hours, I'm not sure you want to spend it there. But again, for the park hopping part, that's going to take up some time as you're going along. Yeah. Stephanie, food. You talked about the food part, and I know that again, when we've watched this, people have like, I've seen this before, is VIP like waiting at the exit with like bag of water bottles or like holding 9 pretzels somehow magically in one hand to pass out to everybody. Do you guys ask for that stuff, or do they just know it, or do you plan that ahead of time and say, hey, after this we're going to want a snack and here's what we're going to want?
Okay, so they do offer that they will give you a snack and they will give you bottled bottles of water. And you pretty much can get as many bottles of water, but sometimes when it's very, very busy, they'll limit it. They'll say like 2 bottles of water per person. Okay. So you're traveling in the vans or SUVs or what have you, and you're going backstage. Usually when you pull up to the place backstage that you're getting out, like for us, it was, Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. There is a VIP greeter that's standing there with a basket. They'll have snacks ready for you. They'll have the waters ready sometimes. When we were there in August, it was so hot. It was, I don't know, heat advisory things. And so they had a bucket full of iced towels, cold iced towels.
Ooh.
And they handed those to us and we could, wipe off with them and give them back and everything, which was very nice. But yes, as far as they'll do Mickey bars, Jungle Cruiser, they'll do Mickey bars, or they'll do some kind of popsicles for you, but they don't do Dole Whips. I've never had them go and get me a pretzel, honestly. Anything else that you want to do, they will go and pick up the food, but you mobile order it.
Yeah, I saw
So we
somebody was doing Starbucks, and they were like, "Oh, the our guide's going to pick up Starbucks for us," and I had just wondered. So, Dave, did you do any of that?
Yeah, we were at Epcot, and we were like the kids were getting hungry, so we told Aaron, "Hey, can we go get something to eat? Just like a quick bite." And he took us over to a little kiosk, and he was like, "Mickey will buy you anything on this menu except for the alcohol." And so he let us just load up. So we got like a whole variety of frozen drinks, Mickey pretzels, and all kinds of stuff, and he paid for it all.
Well, that's nice. And
Yeah.
again, I think that's part of that VIP concierge where you're like, oh, look at us.
Hmm.
There was an episode of Blackish, which I don't know if anybody other than me watched Blackish, but it was on for a
Yes.
long, long time. And I love any time when they go to a Disney park. And so on the episode of Blackish, Dre was excited about the fact that he always had wanted to go to Disneyland when he was little, but his mom didn't take him. And so he wanted to take his whole family to Disney World and show off what a big guy he was. And he went VIP. And so they go and they do the VIP experience. And they were like, it wasn't really planned. It was like asks the guy, well, what's the best ride or longest ride here, or like line wise, and he goes Frozen. He goes, well, let's go to that. It's like, okay, I think that's probably not realistic. Also, there was a fake line for Soarin'. I get on them all the time about this. They made this huge concrete fake pylon in front of the land where you would get in line for Soarin'. And it's like, wait a minute, what? Why would you go to this truck?
Yeah.
What is like? No, this is weird. But it's so funny watching that, and the kids are all at first they're walking by all of the people who were in the standby line, and they're like, "Oh, this is embarrassing." And then near the end, they're like, "We're VIP." Let us So it's one of those things where I'm sure it goes a little bit to your head when you go in and you're rolling VIP. I know that again. I had that experience at Universal, which I do want to talk about, but I do have another question. Stephanie, you talked about them picking you up from your hotel, which again, the
Hmm.
strategy in the video I watched, they were saying that they had the guide meet them in the park because again,
Yes.
time is money. Now, if you've got 5 of y'all and trying to get everybody over to the park, it might be nicer if they picked you up and then brought you over rather than you waiting at the bus stop. But they were saying meet them there. The question that Mandy asked was, will they pick you up from a non-Disney hotel?
Ooh, I don't think so. I've not
I
ever experienced that. I don't
well,
know.
and I'll tell you something. I was talking to Aaron during one of our little traversals from one park to the next, and he said he actually had an NBA player. He wouldn't tell me the name of the person, but this person actually paid them to pick him up at 5 o'clock in the morning at his hotel, take him to the Orlando Magic's training facility, have him work out, then come back and pick him up, pick up his family, and then go to the parks. And the VIP tour guide did all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well,
cool.
again, I mean, you're paying for the hours, right? However you're going to
Yep.
spend them.
Yeah. They were like, if you're paying for it, yep, go for it.
Let me just tell you
So
that. Go ahead, Stephanie. You got more
I was just going to
information than I do.
say, about picking up at the hotel. So they want to check you and make sure that you have active. You again, the cost of the ticket to get into the park is not included. So this is extra. So you still have to buy a ticket to get into the park, in addition to the cost of the VIP tour. So they want to check and make sure that you have an active band or ticket or whatever for the day. If you meet them in the park, That's totally fine if you're starting at 2 or 3. I personally like to start at 3 so that I can watch the fireworks and then get them to drive me back home after that. But yeah, so you're already going through the security, you're already going through the turnstiles and having to deal with all of that by yourself. If they pick you up at the hotel, they just have one of those little iPads and they just check you, and then you don't go through security. You really don't go through security, which is nice. They're like, yeah,
They say
everything
you
looks
do,
good.
but you don't actually. Yeah, like you look fine. I can
You look
trust
good.
you.
Look, here's your bag. Leave your bag over here.
Yeah, that's something that too that, and again, I'll read some of the comments. I asked this question. So we have a Discord and we have a Patreon. If you guys are interested, you can come join us and hang out in our Discord. Join our Patreon. It's at patreon.com/GoPackPAC. And so if I'd like to ask questions of the team that's in there and all of our friends in our community. And I asked the question and I said, have you ever been have you ever done VIP? This was interesting, I thought. So Jordan said, never done VIP in Florida, but done VIP Universal Hollywood. And he said, pretty reasonable since the price of the regular ticket is included, which, to your point, Disney does not do that, and neither does Universal Orlando, so I find that very interesting. I was just going to be there for the day. It was a short day, a few hours, and I'd never been, so I thought I'd make it a little fancy, which I love. It was fun, but I was a little worried because I was eating the breakfast they provided before the tour, and I was looking around to see who might be in my group, and there were little kids fighting, and fortunately I wasn't in their group. Now, again, that's something I want to talk about, Universal versus Disney. In Universal, you can do a shared VIP tour as opposed to a private VIP tour. But here's what I thought was interesting. The wait times were pretty good that day. Didn't really probably need a tour, but it was nice not to deal with the lockers since the tour guide held my backpack for me. And I was like, especially at Universal where every other attraction says you got to go and put stuff in the lockers. If you're like, here, Aaron, hold my bag for me. I'm going to go ride this ride. It's like when grandma goes with you and doesn't want to ride any Space Mountain. So everybody just dumps their stuff in front of grandma. You're going to be here when we get back, right? Here, just let me dump everything here so I don't have to carry it.
I get strollers, right? I have multiple strollers usually, and our tour guide, shout out to Michelle, love Michelle. She will meet us at the exit. She's like, y'all know what to do. Here you go, get in, go ride the ride, and she'll meet us. We'll have all of our bags, all of the strollers, everything ready to go.
Yep. So let's talk a second. Let me pivot a little bit because on the show we're talking theme parks in general. So Universal, have either of you been on Universal RIP or VIP?
No.
I've looked into VIP. I've not done it.
Okay, so VIP, I was able to do once, and back in the day when Universal Music had some rights to do things there. But it was me and my son when he was still in a stroller, and my wife, and we were going to do Islands when it first opened up, and we went there, and the tour guide at the time was like, he's not going to be able to do anything over in this park, so let's switch you over here. And so we went to do the one at Universal Studios Orlando, the Studios Park, and when we went to do that, we joined another group, and so that's the thing is that you can go and you can buy in at Universal to a VIP tour without it being a private VIP tour, and you can do that with RIP as well. And when we talk about, I assume everybody on here knows, but when we talk about RIP, that is the guided tour they do during Halloween Horror Nights versus the VIP tour, which is what they do during the day. So it's same guides, but it's a different experience because of what you're doing. But the VIP tour was great, but then they took a break. The difference is they will take you on a planned trip, as opposed to the VIP at Disney, since it's private, and a private Universal will do the same. That you just tell them what you want, and then they will take you there. With a shared one, you have to kind of do the plan, and they make up a plan that is going to be something that's a little bit for everybody. Obviously get you on the big ticket attractions. They kind of let us go for lunch, and then they brought us back together because the guide had to take a 30-minute break. And so during that time, that's not part of your tour. You're like, they go and you go feed yourself and you come back and you get back into it. One of the things Universal does that I've noticed that Disney usually basically takes you through the lightning lane. Universal pretty much takes you into the exit. Of every. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, a little better. honestly, I
Yeah.
feel like, to be able to take you into the exits of those things. Also, when
There.
Dave was talking about where they
There's
drop
a
you
few
off,
attractions that do that.
the one that I
Yes, there are.
saw. Wait, you said some of the attractions do that?
Hmm.
Yeah, like let's see, Haunted Mansion does it for one. That's the first one that comes to mind. So you
Gotcha.
Buzz
actually go in, like you
Lightyear.
literally just, yeah, that's right.
A
Well,
lot
that's
of the
good.
Omnimovers.
Yep.
The people that I saw on this thing, they went into, they were going to do Guardians of the Galaxy, and they dropped them off at behind Journey, and I was thinking, oh man. And now this was when
What?
Guardians first opened,
Wow.
so maybe there was still some construction or something that would keep them
Oh,
from doing that.
Huh.
probably.
But I'm like, man, especially if you had somebody like, somebody older that you were taking to the
Hmm.
park, like making them walk that walk, you're burning time. So that's one of those things. But anyway, the RIP tour is the same thing. You can get in on another tour, which then that girl math may come into play, because if you're looking at the, like, sorry, I'm going to get canceled so hard.
Oh, it's
I read
cool.
it on the internet though, so it's okay.
It's
So
true.
when you when you when you go and you look at the express pass cost. Express pass at Universal is mad expensive,
Yeah.
but it gets you good things. So you buy it or you don't, but it's more than your ticket in most cases. So in this case, it may be cost effective for you to do the guided RIP tour shared than it would be to do it with or even the VIP tour, than it would be to buy an express pass. Now, I was looking at what Universal's charging now, and it was like $216 a day for a VIP in addition to your ticket on a shared group.
Hmm.
Except
Interesting.
Epic was twice that. So
Oh, of
obviously people are
course.
trying to game the system by going and doing an Epic
Hmm.
VIP, and they're like, yeah, you can do that. You're gonna pay double, but you can do it. So yeah, definitely a thing. So
But I also think that it's nice that they include at least the breakfast meal, and don't they give you a voucher for the lunch that they turn you loose to go get? Don't you have a voucher that you use?
I don't think that happened with the shared one.
Oh, okay.
So when you do the RIP tour, if you are on a private tour, they will feed you ahead, like at the beginning, they will feed you
Okay.
for the RIP tour, and then you go through the park, and then they'll bring you back to rest. And there's the guide needs a 30-minute break, but luckily the guide that we've had usually ties it into us going to see Nightmare Fuel. So the length of
That's
the
cool.
show is about the length of their break, and that works out pretty well. But
Smart.
um, if you have a guided tour with that you're sharing, you may, I don't know how that works for RIP. There may be rides because the rides are
Hmm.
open, but as the private one where it's like, no, we're here for the houses, we're not interested in doing that. So it's a really cool experience to be able to do that, and I love that there's another tier to be able to do that at Universal, where you can get
Right.
just the you can get it even if you're not buying the entire thing, like you are, the minimum requirements for a VIP. I will also say, Stephanie, and you said you've done the one in Disneyland.
Hmm.
Anytime I see a guide in Disneyland, I always assume immediately that it's somebody famous. Immediately.
Well, we weren't famous,
I I
but
get that, but I always assume immediately it's somebody famous, and I've seen some
they
famous
do have a
people
lot.
taking guided tours. I saw Jody
Hmm.
Benson once at Walt Disney World taking a guided tour.
Oh.
I saw Donovan McNabb, quarterback for the Eagles, and then at some point the
Hmm.
Washington football team. He was there with his family in California, and of course I love those moments when I say to my family, "Hey, there's Donovan McNabb," and they go, "Who?"
Yeah.
Um, but
Okay.
but yeah, I've seen some guided tours where it's like, oh, who's the famous person in this group, and that's the game we play when we're at Disneyland. Who's the famous person in this group? I would have picked Stephanie. I would have said she's probably the famous person in that group.
No, we just end up
No,
I
talking
was
about
leaning
being
into
former
that.
cast members.
I had like glasses on and a hat and everything, trying to
Nice.
look like I'm trying to hide my
Incognito.
identity. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if anybody actually thought it, but you definitely feel like a celebrity when you're doing this. At least I did.
Well, and you
Yes.
have the merch to prove it.
Well, and if
I
you get
do.
it,
Like
oh, go ahead.
I actually brought some show and tell. Like I don't know if you can. Like this is my wife's
Oh,
ears.
yes.
Those are cool. And then
I
like
bet
on
it
the
looks very
back.
nice on you, though.
Like the bow is removable, so I could wear these. Just
Mm.
Oh,
saying.
nice.
I have not yet. And then we also got here I'll show you. Like see, this is still like in wraps, but we collect like Christmas tree ornaments, like so I always like every place we travel we get like an ornament from. So we got that little guy, if you can
Yes.
see it.
Nice.
So cool. I love this
I like
thing.
it.
So, and the most expensive shirt I've ever bought in my life, which is what I'm wearing.
That's the most expensive shirt you ever bought in your life. Well, but that's the thing.
Most
It's like the
expensive
once
shirt
in a
ever.
life. For you, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're like, let me relish in this moment, and I do that all the time. If it's like D23 or San Diego Comic-Con or something, I'm like, I get to go to this thing, and I want to have swag. I want to have merch. I mean, obviously, it's a big problem of mine, as anybody who watches the show on a regular basis knows. But I love to be able to have that collectible that says I was here. Now, I could have taken like a picture with my Mind camera or whatever, but I always come back with a ton of photos, except for Epic when I went, because that wasn't allowed. But I did come back with a lot of merch because I was like, let me get some of this and have these pieces here. So I know that that's new, that they do the VIP merch, that they haven't always done that. But Stephanie, you were about to say something else before Dave started a show and tell.
Sorry.
Oh, just that, if you get different, however many times you do this, I don't know, but if you get a tour guide and you can talk to them and they've been doing this a while, by the way, this is a very prestigious position. And usually they come from either guest relations that they've, been working for Disney for quite some time. I know that some of them come from hospitality, like they were the manager over at the All-Star, whatever. And so these people, they really vie for these positions, and you get, again, a tip is not included. So they get a lot of, you do tip your tour guide at the end, and that again is at your discretion. But so that's a coveted position. So you get to hear the stories. I once had a tour with the longest, I guess, employee on the VIP tour, and he had some great stories. And he will talk about, they all do. They all kind of say, oh, I had a famous so-and-so before or whatnot, and they'll tell you the name. But he was able to tour Princess Diana and William and Harry when they came.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he had quite a few stories about that, which was pretty
That's amazing.
neat. That's the closest I'll ever get to Princess Di and the royal family.
6
That's
degrees
incredible.
of separation between Stephanie and Princess Di. Dave Mandy said in chat, we all know he's really John Stamos.
It's
you're
true.
Really John Stamos. You're just rolling in.
You found me out.
I literally,
it's true.
However, I really did see John Stamos back in the day when he was dating Renee Zellweger, and they were walking through the Grand Californian. Why did I notice them? Because they had a guide with them, and so they were coming through. But I noticed, here's the thing, a little bit of a man crush on him. Noticed him, didn't notice her until like later. I was like, wait a minute.
That was Renee.
Wait a minute. That was her. That's crazy.
My sister was
gonna
a VIP
ask about
guide back in the day. She was in the early '90s. She was a VIP guide when they were not doing nearly as many of those back then. But she did it for about 2 years, I think.
Who?
That's great.
My sister.
Okay, gotcha. Is she there? Can we talk to her instead? No, I'm just kidding. But here's the thing, though, is Stephanie, it's like the tip thing is awkward to me, and I don't really. You said at your discretion. You said it beautifully. Tip them at your discretion. Now, I would be obnoxious, and I have been obnoxious, where I'm like asking 90 questions and trying to do bad jokes and all these things. So they deserve whatever tip I could possibly afford for them. But again, I mean, is there I don't know how to ask this, and if neither of you want to answer that, that's fine. But like, how do you determine? You don't have to tell me what you gave them, but how do you determine how much you're going to tip your guide? Like, Aaron definitely left a brand on Dave's life forever. So like,
No, without a doubt. We told him that too. We told him, like, you're actually part of this family now. We have pictures with you. We're going to reminisce about Aaron and all the great times we had with Aaron. Like, we really talked about Aaron the rest of the trip. We did the VIP tour on the first day, and we talked about him the entire trip. And we tried to be as generous as we literally took every bit of cash that we brought to us with us to Disney World and gave it to him. That was it. Just like, empty my wallet. Here you go, Aaron.
I know you got some money in your shoe, Ma. You better fork it over. Come on. Aaron did good for us. Let me ask you this, Stephanie. And again, you don't have to tell me this because you have somebody you recommend or you request. You ever had a bad one?
There have been a few that, and again, I'm a repeat defender. So those that are like, oh, do it this one time, then, I can't really help you. You get who you get and you don't throw a fit, I guess. But the people, so there have been a couple where I was like, like Dave said, they just didn't really jive with the flow that we like to go. We're go all the time. Like I said, or we take a break and we have dinner with them, but then we're jump back in. Let's put all the things in there as we can. Let's do the show. Let's do the thing. Let's do the, whatever. And they're constantly on their phone going, oh, well, she just said that we have to go meet Anna Nelson now. Oh, well, let me call my contact. Let me go make sure that this is okay to do. And get me in right in the wire. But because they do such a phenomenal job, I tend to do a higher percentage tip of the total, and I will look them in the eye and say thank you so much. And yes, if you obviously can be more generous, then they are happy to have you again. And there have been a couple that have become, like you say, kind of part of the family. And I'll see him out in the park, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, and then he'll come over and talk to us as he's on another tour. He just come to say hi. But yeah,
We saw
something
Aaron on our
you get
last
to know.
day. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
you get to go say hi.
Yeah, we were coming out of Guardians. He'd given us an extra extra lightning lane to use on our last day. So we were coming out of Guardians, and he's
Awesome.
standing there at the exit, and we're like, oh, Aaron, yay!
And it was
Full
just
circle.
like Guardians, where the guy goes, I'm Star-Lord, and the other guy goes, who? Hey, it's me, Aaron. Who? I don't know you.
He
No,
remembered
no,
us.
No, it's fine.
You were awesome.
Yeah. So honestly, again, like thinking about the Universal one, that same thing happened where, we wanted to at the RIP, meet like, David S. Pumpkins, and like the guy's like, well, let me take my phone and go over here and see what I can do.
Yep.
And it's all of a sudden it's like, here he is. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, that's awesome. So yeah, I definitely think that when you get a good guide, you want to hold on to them, and you may not even know, they may be good, but there may be somebody better. So you
Right.
don't ever know. But as much as these trips cost, I would assume that you would have some quality control over this, and there wouldn't really be bad ones, but I bet you
Right.
there are some that are exceptional that do make that magic for you, which is how
Above
they
and
phrase it.
beyond.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. All right. So I do want to ask, I want to ask you guys to kind of like summarize as part of this meeting coming to an end soon here. Not yet. I do want to ask you guys, I'm going to ask you to summarize your experience and recommend, if you would, if as our club people here, if you would recommend that people do this, and then also ask the question of would you are you spoiled now? So think about that now, because again, I went to see the Orioles once in a skybox, and the next time I came back and had to sit in the cheap seats, I was mad. So I'm sure that's going to be a thing. I'm looking though at one more of our pack members. I wanted to share this this response from Captain Quackers in our chat. I've done several, and I plan to do more. As far as, have you done a VIP tour? It ensures that I get to ride the rides I care about for the vacation, and sort of makes the rest of the vacation relaxing, which I thought was interesting, because you're going in and you're like, let me get everything done that's on my must-do list, like you were talking about, Dave, like Soarin' and Remy and Guardians. And then when you go back, maybe you hit the food booths, or everything's chill now because you've done the things that you had to do, and maybe the line happens to be short and you go and do it again, but at least you know that you're going to walk away having done all of those things. He says, I get the same guide, and you sort of develop a relationship with that person, like Stephanie was talking about.
Yep.
They're part of your trip, essentially. I have kids, so sometimes includes some friends for context, but unsure what you're, he said, but unsure what you're asking about my family, about reducing stress on a vacation, getting some unique experiences, and generally it's a very pleasant day. So again, thank you for those comments. I appreciate, it's nice to be able to get our whole community to weigh in on this, and not just the voices we hear here, but I love that everybody's coming from a different place. And so I definitely can't wait to hear at the end what everybody what everybody thinks. But I want to kind of say thank you to you for being here. Thank you to everybody in the chat for being here. We really appreciate you guys finding us here. Please, if there are other people that don't know we're over here, tell them we're over here. Bring some friends. We are excited to be able to bring you guys a lot of great content. So this past Friday, my son hosts a show on this network called Hakuna Matrivia, and he did another one with this past week, and it's a lot of fun to do. We'll be doing that once a month as part of our Friday rotating programming. So go back and watch it. It's fun to see if you would have gotten the answers to some of these trivia questions, and he's been doing a good job with that. Tonight is Where You Are Right Now. This is us. This is the Park Adventurers Club. And then this Wednesday night, you're going to get to see Stephanie twice in the same week. It's going to be a look on the plus side with Cinderella Live, the live action version with the with Snow White in our rear view and Stitch on the horizon. It's a good time to talk about Cindy, I feel like. So have you already watched it again? You all studied up, Stephanie? You ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Excited.
Gotcha. And one last thing I want to shout out. Again, I mentioned this before. Patreon.com/GoPack is how you join our community. We have a Discord, and we would love to have you be a part of it. Some of our bigger supporters, we want to give a shout out to Jungle Cruiser, Rosita, William, Monica, Michael, J. Ware, Alicia, Rob Bazemore, even though he challenged me tonight, Vince, and Jordan, and Sienna. Thank you guys. And also, you can follow us on any social platform at Park ADV Club, because they wouldn't let us put adventures on Twitter/X. Also, if you join at some of the higher levels, you get a pin and a button and a sticker, which we've mailed out this week to several of our folks. So again, check it out, patreon.com/GoPack. We would love to have you be a part of that group. But now let's wrap this up. Let's call this meeting to a vote. And we'll start with you, Stephanie. And I want to know, again, the questions before you. Yes, would you? Are you okay not rolling VIP? But more importantly is, would you recommend it? Is it worth it? Is the question that we're asking. So how vote ye?
It's worth it if you are so bougie that you have the money to spend and it's just you and one other person, or it's worth it if you have 10 friends, 10, count them, so that you can maximize your money and your dollar. And I will say, if you have people that are about the same level, at least the same height, that can get on all the different height restricted rides, it goes a lot faster and it's a lot better, because then when you don't have to do, the smaller rides, you can kind of pick and choose. If you're wanting to do all 4 parks, you're maximizing your time and your money. If you just stay in one, Magic Kingdom, and you probably get to ride everything. But the way I typically like to do it, and I see the value and the benefit of doing it at the beginning of your trip, but I also like to do it at the end of my trip. And that's because I'll spend maybe 1 day per park, and then I'll wrap it all up the last day, and I'll say, okay, this is the ride that we didn't get to, or we didn't have time to do, or we want to watch the fireworks at a specific viewing spot, a VIP viewing, or we want to watch, the parade. Now that's a pretty cool one, because if you can get it in early enough, your VIP viewing spot for the parade is on top of the train station. And so that's a really neat vantage point to watch the parade. So I think that there are multiple different ways that you can do it, but definitely look and see the variable pricing. If you're going on a day that it's a holiday, certainly if it's New Year's or President's Day or one of these Christmas Day, you're going to be paying that $900 plus for the 7 hours minimum. And that's $900 per hour for 7 hour minimum. So if you can do it like at the end of your day on a Wednesday in the middle of the week, that's what we did at Disneyland, where, we were out there, that's going to be the lowest cost. And they will tell you up front what the price per hour is. So definitely ask about that, and then try to maximize your time. And yes, but get the transportation. I see the benefit, and we do meet our tour guides a lot in the park, and we'll say a specific meeting spot, but it does benefit you to have that transfer back to or from the hotel, either at the beginning or at the end of your day. So yeah, I think it's worth it, but in those caveats.
So, but again, you go back without it, but it's nice to have it.
Correct. We start without it. We start our whole week, we're there. We do every day without it, and then we usually wrap it up with it.
Nice. I feel like I know how Dave's going to vote on this one, because he literally just still has the taste of Kool-Aid in his mouth. But how vote ye?
Yeah, I think Stephanie said it extremely well. I don't know how that could add a whole lot to that, but for me, I do like doing it at the beginning, because you do take the pressure off, and we kind of felt like we could really relax the rest of the trip. But we actually started off with the plan like Stephanie does, because I think both of them are completely valid and makes a lot of sense. No question whatsoever, I would do it again. We're already talking about taking the kids back with just my wife and I, and just doing it with the four of us. So I think it'll be very hard to go back and not do one. So we'll see. But yeah, I feel like I'm spoiled now.
Well, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. And you know what? One final thought that I had about this one is that I feel like it's expensive. Feel like it is expensive. The people who were talking before was like, it could cost you $10,000 a day. So yeah, if you did 12 hours and you did it or at a weird time, you're going to be able to spend that and you could buy a Kia. But at the same time, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for some people that you're like, this is, if I'm going to do it, let me do it right. I've had those conversations with people, but I was going to say is that even though it's expensive, we did the Star Cruiser, Stephanie, and I feel like I saw where every penny was spent, and it was well worth it. Was it a lot of money? Yes. Am I sad that my daughter can't finish college? Yeah, a little. But at the same time, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, but I could see how every little thing mattered. Same thing with like Monsieur Paul's, the dinner there.
Yeah.
I had a dinner there. You see where every dollar is spent in a situation like that, from the way that the level of service that you get and the quality of the food and the just the attention to detail that they give you in a situation like that. I don't roll like that. I usually roll Casey's Corner, but at the same time, when you do it, you see the value in that. And I think you see that here, and it's that Disney difference, or it's that VIP difference. Because again, I think Universal does an amazing job as well at this, and the fact that they offer that other tier I think is very cool that they can. But definitely let us know what you think in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Dave, thanks for coming out and
thank you for
being here
inviting
for
me.
this. Dave's going to come back and do a look on the plus side with us. He hasn't told me what yet. Maybe it'll be a surprise that night. I don't know, but we'll figure that out. But come back Wednesday night.
Call me out like that, huh?
I'm gonna call you out every time, my friend. Come back Wednesday night. Hang out with Stephanie and I talking about Cinderella, the live action, and then come back next Sunday night for another edition of the Park Adventurers Club. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great week, and remember, adventure is out there.